Goosebumps! I was obsessed with Goosebumps in my developing days. This was just the kind of fun horror that would shape me up to become the horror fan I am now. I have a lot of respect and reverence for this franchise for all it's done to shape me. I watched damn near every episode of the TV show and had a huge collection of the books. It's all very corny and hardly ever actually scary, but it's just the kind of spooky fun that I adore. And today we get to examine my favorite story in Goosebumps, as it correlates strongly with Halloween: The Haunted Mask. This episode introduces Carly Beth, a girl who is easily frightened and is constantly tormented by the people around her, especially those two punks, Chuck and Steve. But this year, it's going to be different. This year, Carly Beth is going to be scary, and Chuck and Steve will wish they had never met her. This is just an all-timer. I've loved this episode since I was a kid, and I love it just the same today. Amongst the other Goosebumps episodes, I'd say this one has aged the best. First off, I think Carly Beth is a very sympathetic character, and the actress Catherine Long does a great job portraying the character, especially in her sadder moments. Those really hit hard. I really felt bad seeing how many people picked on her for being easily frightened, as someone who was also easily frightened as a child. I sensed a kindred spirit in her, and that made it all the more satisfying when Carly puts on the haunted mask and gets her revenge. And I love seeing Carly rebel and become a fucking gremlin out on the streets. She brings an infectious energy like this. She's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I'm crazy, alright, I'm crazy!
I was pretty much completely on her side for a bit, until she started to become more cruel, slowly becoming more like Chuck and Steve. And I really liked that gradual shift, and how her innocence manifests in the plaster head that her mother made for her. Carly's mother is so nice in this, it is very sweet. I hate the little brother though, I hope he's suffocated in that mask.
Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha!
Oh my god! Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha! So that's where I got it! I've been quoting that for years and I had no idea where it came from. Now it's finally been unearthed. He's also a terrible actor, but he's a kid, so whatever. Anyways, Carly's eventual revenge on Chuck and Steve is great, with Carly scaring the hell out of them and demanding an apology. Seeing them break down is very satisfying after all the shit they pulled. And then it shifts into my favorite scare in the episode, when Carly's plaster head comes to life and begs for help. Great stuff. The second best scare is definitely those floating heads though, that rules. The whole lore with those masks and the shopkeeper is interesting to me, and I kinda wish we got to learn a little more about the guy. Though I haven't read every Haunted Mask book, maybe they do get into it. Speaking of the titular Haunted Mask, it rules. It's a great spooky design brought perfectly to life in this episode. I love how the mask gradually attaches itself to Carly's face and even changes her eye color. Then eventually the teeth start to actually move when Carly speaks and the skin starts to sweat. It's so cool! And this whole episode ends on a very wholesome note, when Carly realizes that the plaster head her mother made for her was the true symbol of love that she needed to ward off the other masks, and finally take her mask off. Her coming home to her mother is just a nice moment. This episode actually manages to reach me on an emotional level, which is rare for this show. That's probably why I hold it in such high regard as my favorite episode. And, you know, the episode also has perfect Halloween vibes. It brings me to a place of actually trick-or-treating when I was younger. It's very nostalgic. So, if you're looking for those nostalgic Halloween vibes, definitely add this to the list.